Hey, happy ACM Awards week. It's Ben here in the Country 102.5 studio. A really jam-packed award show happening on Thursday, which by the time you're seeing this is either tomorrow or tonight. So really big awards happening on Amazon Prime Video from Texas. Now, the lineup is really stacked with a lot of categories that have, people who are in, that's filled up with people who can take it home. It's going to be hard to make some picks, which is what we're going to do today. I've gathered you all here so we can give some estimations and some picks. So let's start with the big one, Entertainer of the Year. So Chris Stapleton is nominated, and he had an amazing year, of course, with his brand new album, Higher, which came out in 2024. So he's certainly on the list. Cody Johnson played a whole bunch of shows in the past year and released the deluxe edition and the actual edition of his album, Leather. So Jelly Roll, obviously he's on the list. He's Jelly Roll with a brand new album called Beautifully Broken out. He was touring in the past year, so he's easily a contender. Kelsey Ballerini is, of course, on there. She just wrapped up her huge arena tour, which went across the country. And I saw it in Boston, obviously. It was really one of the best concerts I've seen in a long time. Lainey Wilson, of course, she's Lainey Wilson. She has a new album out, too, so she's obviously a contender. Luke Combs is on the list as well again this year. I wonder how many years in a row he's been nominated because it's been nuts. He had the Fathers and Son album come out in 2024, so that was pretty big for him. And then, of course, Morgan Wallen. He didn't tour a lot in 2024. Of course, he is this summer with the album being released next week, but he's certainly a contender for Entertainer of the Year. So I'm going to... This is tough because I think Kelsey Ballerini has a really good shot because... over the past year, she's done so much for her campaign for Entertainer of the Year with the new album and, of course, the single with Noah Kahan. So it's really tough. I'm going to go Morgan. I think he's going to do it. He got the CMA Entertainer of the Year back last fall. So I feel like he's probably got this one locked down, too, especially after so many years of not getting it. That's a whole story I don't even want to open up right now. So Morgan Wallen for Entertainer of the Year. Okay. Moving on now to the Female Artist of the Year. So we got Ella Langley, who of course broke out into the country music scene in 2024. You Look Like You Love Me, a huge song for her. And then she had a whole bunch of other collaborations going on. There's a song with Coetzel that she had out. Can't remember if that was from the past 12 months where this would be included in the nominations, whatever. But I think she's strong. Casey Musgraves. Honestly, don't really know a lot about Casey because, she's not in the mainstream of country. I shouldn't say I don't know a lot about her. I just haven't been following her totally. So I'll have to do some research, I guess. But Kelsey Ballerini is also nominated, and all that stuff that I said applies for her too in this category. Lainey Wilson's up there as well, and then Megan Maroney, who was on Kenny Chesney's tour last summer. And she already sold out a whole bunch of shows that she has for this year, 2 in Boston in August. So for female, Ella Langley's going to take it. She had such a huge moment with Riley Green with You Look Like You Love Me, and I really think she is the Female Artist of the Year for country. She already won New Female of the Year. I feel like that really cemented that for her. So Male Artist of the Year, let's move on now. Chris Stapleton is nominated, of course. There's so much we can say about Chris. I think a big part of his campaign here is the album. Cody Johnson, same thing, the album. Jelly Roll, he was touring in the past 12 months, so I think he might be up there. Luke Combs, of course, and then Morgan Wallen is nominated as well. I think this is Jelly's. I really do. I really don't think there's... I'm trying to say polarizing. I don't think there's anyone as... impactful in that genre, right? In that category, I should say, as Jelly Roll. So it's his, in my opinion. All right, Duo of the Year. Brooks and Dunn is up there, and I can't wait to see them at Fenway with Jason Aldean in a few weeks. So that's going to be fun. Brothers Osborne, I should say about Brooks and Dunn first, though. They had that album this year where they re-recorded some of their biggest hits with some of today's biggest country stars. It was Reboot 2, the second one of those they did. So that's certainly going to make them a contender. Brooks and Dunn. Yep, so then Brothers Osborne is next on the list. They've been putting some music out recently, but they haven't been in the mainstream light. So I'm not sure how how much of a win can be guaranteed for them in this category, in my opinion. Dan and Shay, I mean, the story with them the past year was great, and they were close to breaking up, we found out. And this last album they put out, Bigger Houses, kind of solidified that relationship. It wasn't really rocky relationship. It was just kind of, from what it sounded like, a creative indifference, which was kind of getting in between them. But then they put out this album, which they said was their best work ever. So I think that makes them pretty strong contenders, obviously. Muscadine Bloodline, we've been hearing from them a little bit. They have their new song out called 1090, and they're going to be with Lainey Wilson here in October. I don't think they're going to take it home, but, it definitely in the future, I think they could be big contenders for this category because I just love the way their voices shine off of one another. It's great. And then the War and Treaty, some of my favorite voices, like in all of music, like those two can sing. Obviously, a merry duo that are nominated. I think it's going to be really close between the War and Treaty and Dan and Shay. I got to pick one, though. I'm going to go with Dan and Shay just because of that big, impactful album they had, okay? All right, let's move on. We got Group of the Year now. So Flatland Cavalry, they're a new group. I don't really know too much about them, but I've listened to some of their music. Some good stuff. And that little Big Town is in the group as well. They celebrated, I think it was either 20th or 30th anniversary this year. Must be 20? Has to be 20. So then they put out a whole commemorative album with some of their greatest hits during that past 20 years to commemorate the anniversary. Old Dominion, I think they've won it 8 or 9 times in a row, and I don't know. This year they might have some competition because Rascal Flatts is also nominated, and they are on their tour right now, their first one in 5 or 6 years. And then the Red Clay Strays are also nominated. That's a new group that if you haven't listened to them, you should definitely check some music out from them. But it's really between here for me, Old Dominion, and Rascal Flatts. I think it's going to be Rascal Flatts. They took some time off. They came back, and they're selling out arenas right now. So I think Rascal Flatts will take it for me. Album of the Year. So these are the music-oriented ones where individual things win categories, if you know what I mean. So Album of the Year is one of my favorite categories. What I've been trying to do a lot more of recently is listen to full-scale albums. So instead of just picking apart a few songs, I think that is gonna, be a big hit. I like that song. I've been listening front to cover for the most part of some of the newer albums that have come out. So I'm excited for this category this year because I've listened to all 5 of these albums front to back. So Megan Maroney's Am I Okay is nominated. She has had, I believe, number one off of that record, I should say. So that's up there. Jelly Roll, Beautifully Broken. I mean, obviously it's Jelly Roll. That's a powerful album. So motivating. Zach Top's Cold Beer and Country Music. I don't think there's anybody in the entire world of country right now who has had a faster rise to success than Zach has. And obviously that's 2 things, music and persona. So music is obviously a big part of that. So his album Cold Beer and Country Music is nominated. And then we have Post Malone's F1 Trillion. So this is where it gets tough because this album was genre defining for an entire year. Post Malone, when he came into the country music world, he definitely changed it for sure. In one way or another, whatever you think. But he definitely impacted the whole format in general. So, I mean, that can't be ignored. And then Lainey Wilson's Whirlwind as well. What an incredible album that is. Some of the best, country music. You know what I mean? It really sticks with you in the words, the lyrics on that album just, kind of blew me away. I need to go back and listen to a few songs from that album just because it's so great. But that's a solid category. I mean, it's tough. For me, it's between Jelly, Zach, and Post. I think Zach Top is going to win. Is that crazy? Yeah, Zach Top, Cold Beer and Country Music. Big winner for Album of the Year. Mark it down. All right, let's move on now. Single of the Year. So this is obviously one of my favorites because I work in radio and we play singles, obviously. This is a pretty stacked up lineup. I'm looking at this now and I'll read them off in a second. I think there's 3 that really are contenders, and then there's 2 that really good songs, really good singles, but I don't think they had as big of a moment as the other ones. So I'll tell you what they are. Shabuzi, a bar song. Cody Johnson, Dirt Cheap, and then Post and Morgan, I Had Some Help. Chris Stapleton, White Horse, and then Ella and Riley, You Look Like You Love Me. So we're talking single of the year. We're not talking song itself. This is like, this sold the most for the artist. This got the most airplay on radio, whatever. It's tough because Post and Morgan, like, that song when it came out shattered records in terms of like people who are playing it, like just radio nerd records that I don't need to explain to you because you don't care. But I don't know, but Post Malone had that, and then Shabuzi had that same moment too. I'm gonna go Post and Morgan. I feel like that was like the biggest collaboration, the biggest moment country music has had since like when Tim McGraw and Kenny Chesney did their collaboration. Like, that was a huge thing. This kind of mimicked that impact. So Post and Morgan, I Had Some Help, single of the year. And now song of the year. So now we just get to talk about, like, well, the songs themselves. So 4x4 by You from Lainey Wilson is nominated. Dirt Cheap from Cody Johnson. Post and Morgan, I Had Some Help. The Architect from Casey Musgraves. And You Look Like You Love Me from Ella Langley and Riley Green. I mean, this is easy. There's one that's really standing out to me, for me personally. And keep in mind, because this is about the songs themselves, what they sound like, whatever. How good of a song is it? I think it's going to go to Cody. I think Dirt Cheap is going to be the winner of Song of the Year. And I think it's deserved because from that lineup, that category, I feel like that was like the best one that had like great lyrics, really good play on words. Like, that song made me feel something, so that is my pick. Song of the Year, Cody Johnson, Dirt Cheap. All right, we got a few more here. Music Events of the Year. These are fun because, of course, they're collaborations. We had a bunch of them this year that were really good. So Kelsey and Noah Khan, Cowboys Cry 2. That was big. I mean, especially for us here in Boston with the New England connection with Noah Khan. I just wish he came out at the Garden with her to perform it. Just sound like it seemed picture perfect. Didn't happen. So that's up there. Post and Morgan, collab of the year for sure. Like, just in terms of success and just staying power. You know what I mean? So he's up there. Those two are up there, I should say. And then Cody Johnson and Carrie Underwood. Like, I feel like that, oh my God, it's tough. It's so tough because that song was like, because Carrie doesn't do like collaborations just to do collaborations, right? Like, she needs the song to be like a hit, like something that she can get behind. And Cody knew that. He talked about it a number of times before like they recorded a song together or before we knew it was coming out or something like that. Cody knew that he had to bring the best of the best to Carrie. And that song is. That's tough. And then we have Carly Pearce and Chris Stapleton, We Don't Fight Anymore. I liked that song. I thought their voices really shined well off of one another. And then Riley Green and Ella Langley, You Look Like You Love Me. A huge event, music events of the year. That's the category. I don't know. God, I wish I had like a time machine right now. I think Cody Johnson and Carrie Underwood got to take it. Yeah. That was just like the coming together of really two different parts of the format coming together. Like, that was the coolest musical event. I'm going with it. And those are my picks for the ACM Awards, the 60th ACM Awards. Who do you think is going to take home the cake, the entertainer of the year? That's the big category. If I got like two of these right, I'm going to be pretty happy. Because, you know, we work in the industry, so like, we live this day to day. It feels like, I don't know, my insight might be a little correct. I don't know. I'm not a member. I'm not a voting member. I should have said that beforehand. So I didn't cast any ballots or anything. But this seems right. I feel content. What do you think? Thanks so much for hanging out with me.